Any questions you guys have, put it inside the chat. Okay, put it inside the chat. Any questions, guys? Any questions? I mean, trading related and stuff as much as you can. It doesn't have to be like really simple stuff like um how do you follow the alerts? That could be one. Or how do I know how to best use the server depending on my schedule? That could be one too, right? So any questions? Yatin's iPhone. So we'll go one by one. Okay. When you mentioned high risk, I'm always hesitating. Um. So okay. Right. When I mentioned that something is a high risk move, right? I'm just trying to put you guys, or kind of I'm just trying to help you guys understand that this ticker has potential to go both ways, right? Because there are some of you guys or some of the people inside that if I don't add in the word high risk or risky, you guys will go super crazy with your position. Some of you guys might just like go like super heavy, and if nice on you, you're gonna get hurt, right? So I put remember, you guys always remember one thing: when I take a trade, okay, when I take a trade, all right, it means that I believe in it. Whether is it gonna be high risk, low risk, whatever the case is, when I take a trade, there is a setup. Okay, so one example over here is gonna be RGC, all right? We'll see over here for RGC, okay? So you can see that when I alerted RGC for a play on the 18th of March, okay, you can see that I say it's a pure gamble, it's a pure lotto, okay? But why did I alert it? Doesn't mean that this is something that's pure, that's really a gamble where I don't know what's gonna happen, right? No. I mean, I know that there's potential for this to do something, right? But because of how big the spread is, because of how it trades and stuff, right? I need to let you guys know that it is a lotto. It's highly risky. It doesn't mean that it's something that it doesn't mean that there is no setup. There is a setup right there. There is potential for this, but because of how big the spread is, because of how wide the spread is, right? You have to go lotto. And I mean, you guys can clearly see on RGC on Friday went up to $71 from 20. Right when I alerted this over here on the 18th, I think it was yeah, I think it was around here, right? And you can see it went all the way down to what? 2002, exactly that. All right, 2002, and from there on, it just never looked back. So it's a lotto for a reason. Will I have positioned this a proper size trade? No, right? Because this thing, you can see, this is not a ticker that is for the faint of heart. One moment is at $33, next moment is at 20. You gotta have big range of stop loss for this. It's impossible to size in big for this. But just remember this: when I take a trade, whether it be lotto, high risk, or whatnot, there is a chance for it to do something. I'm just managing my risk by sizing accordingly to what this ticker can do, right? Because remember what I say, when a ticker has potential to go up, right? When a ticker has potential to go up like that, very quickly, it also has potential to do this, right? So same thing, as all Chinese name goes, when a ticker has potential to go up like that, it also has potential to go down like that, right? Because they liquidate, right? It's high risk, right? So like even right now, if I feel like this thing is gonna go to like $100, $200, I don't mind adding over here at 62, right? Having my stops be at the previous high lows at like 45, but it's gonna be lottos because it's so expensive. There's so much risk over here, right? But it's going to be lottos. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's that. Next question over here, Sierra One. When I've only follow alerts, I have a hard time following what action you took. Took lot on IBO at open yesterday. Sometimes I'm not sure when you took the position or when I should enter. Um. Okay, so I'm not sure, Sierra, what you're asking. All right, but my alerts are very easy to read. Now, I'm just gonna give a shout out first, okay? For those of you guys who are new over here, all right, if you guys haven't go through the onboarding section, please go ahead. Because all you guys need, right? Basically, the true basics you guys need to start even just how to utilize the server, or what you guys need to get started in trading and boarding, or even how to, or the rules I have for my following my alerts and how to read my alerts, one click, it's gonna review everything over here. Okay, yeah. So and once you finish with that, go back to the onboarding channel and read the next few ones that you guys have to read. Okay, but since you're here right now, you're asking this question, let's just go through it. Now, when I alert my place, okay, it's gonna be over here. Green sidebar generally is a buy alert. Okay, you want to read the text first in case of what it says, right? Because sometimes it could be something simple as this, right? Added 1102, stop on 1090, blah blah blah. Sometimes it could be and then orange sidebar is an update. It could be me telling you guys what is next and what not, right? Or it could be telling you guys that I'm taking profits out over here or updating price. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to trade your own plan. All right. So basically, I know sometimes when I say, oh, now it's 250 new high today when the X is at 220s, right? I'm not saying that I added at 250 new high today, or I'm not saying that I scaled at 250 new high, scaled profits at 250 new high today. I'm just saying that this price is at 250 new high today, but I did take my profits at 240s and stuff. Okay, I'm not telling you guys that whenever I see something is new highs means I'm selling exactly at the new highs, right? Because again, I don't know when the high or what's it gonna be, right? I'm just updating to you guys. It doesn't mean that I sold over there. I probably gonna sell before that, right? And then when it's a red bar, okay, it means that I'm completely out. But if it's a red bar for OLB, and then after that I re-alert a green side bar for OLB, it means that I re-entered OLB. It's that simple, right? It's nothing complicated. Okay, so when I say I'm in IBO over here on the morning on Friday, right? Lados at 323, stop on the $3. You can see this is a green sidebar, it's a buy alert. Okay, and then after that, IBO 370 so far. Orange updates. Trying to let you guys know that this is now 370s. Please take your profits accordingly. But do you have to wait for me to post this for you to take profits? No, you don't have to, right? Because the plan has already been given. Okay, and if this thing did go all the way to 350s and stuff, you want to take profits of that, you can do that too, right? So trade your own plan at the end of the day. I'll try to update as much as I can, right? But you guys have to understand that when it comes to 930 trading, some of these things can move really quickly. That if I were to tell you guys that this thing is at 370s, by the time you guys read it and react to it, sometimes it may have just gone back down to 350s, 340s. Yeah, so it's very simple. And let's say, for example, if I tell you guys over here, like let's use VRPX for example, right? VRPX over here, we got 270 to 370s, okay? And then did I alert? So I told you guys closing rest on the 275 to stay green and whatnot, right? Sometimes, okay, so let's say Ailer, for example, we'll use Ailer. 350 to 330, we went to 390s, okay? We went to 390, and I told you guys I was out. And if I re-enter, I'll tell you guys this. I mean, it looks like this. It doesn't mean that why do you alert red and green? It just means that I re-added after closing out my initial trade. Yeah, it doesn't mean that, I'm like going in and out. Like, what about it's updated. Unless I tell you guys that I am setting a stop loss, right? When I tell you guys I'm setting a stop loss, then I generally might not even update those stuff, right? Because the stop loss is set. If it triggers, it triggers. It's out. I'm out. There's no, I'm not gonna come back and be like, hey guys, boom, it's at $6 right now when it hits the stop loss, because how can I, if it triggers when stop loss is out, I have no position in it anymore. Okay, but that's if I say set, right? If I say under, these are all mental. I will still alert manually if I'm in or out. Okay, but the number one, but sometimes it might be a little bit delayed. Maybe I'm off monitors and whatnot. If I tell you guys I'm off monitors, manage yourself accordingly. All right, but at the end of the day, one of the rules is if you're green, let's say okay, over here for Ailer, 350, 330s, 370 first, and then we'll see. This is at 228 for Ailer, right? So you can see that 228 for Ailer. We went, okay, 228 for Ailer, which is right here. The alert was right here, right? The alert was right on this circle candle here. Okay. And then after that, 4 minutes later, it went all the way to 390, sorry, right? 320, 350, added at 228. 4 minutes later, it went down to 390. But the plan was 370 first level, and then we'll see. And it hit 390, right? So one of the rules that I have is once you're green on a trade, never let it turn red. Take profits on the way up and then raise your stops up. So even if I don't update, I'm out over here, I expect you guys to understand that if you're green, do not give it back. All right? I mean, there are some basic stuff you guys have to have. If not, it's going to be very hard for you guys to try to follow this real time. Okay? Which is why, we're doing all these sessions over here. All right? So, I mean, Sierra, I think if that's the question, then yes. I mean, that's just it. You say that you have a hard time following what action I took, right? The actions I take is color-coded. That's it. You say you're not sure sometimes where you took the position for IBO, but, for me, I think this was as clear as day, Like, I said that I added IBO at 323, stop loss at $3. I don't think there's anything difficult or rather anything complicated about this, All right. So yes, K7, I see individual analysts got their own pattern of sharing the trading details. We would like to try out different analyst inputs, but don't have time to sit in front of a terminal broker software for a long time. What would you recommend? I do recommend some certain analysts, blah, 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 but some interesting. But more interesting stuff are happening in other channel. Yes. So obviously, if you guys wanna, okay, let's just say for example, if you guys want to trade, or you guys want to follow specifically my channel, but you guys cannot. Now I'm gonna say this, okay? If you're following my channel, it's best for you guys to not wait for notifications, but rather have another screen open in my channel while you wait for the alerts to come in. Because sometimes the notifications can still be a little bit delayed. Right, so one example is maybe, let's say this is the screen. The screen you're looking at right here is one screen you have. Could be your phone, could be another PC, doesn't matter, right? And then this is your broker setting. Okay, you have two screens. Now, obviously, if you only have one laptop and a phone, right, your laptop should be for trading. All right, I said this before. When you want to day trade, you should only be doing it on your computer, not on your phone, only on your computer. So your phone can be on my page over here. All right, so when I alert something like this, okay. When I say I alert, when I'm in something, when I alert something like this, when I press send to all, you don't need to wait for notification. It's going to come up immediately over here, and you're going to be able to see it real time, right? And then you can react to it. You don't have to change between your screen and your phone. I mean, sorry, your two screens, right? Because you don't have to change, between different applications in one screen. One screen's for following the alerts, one screen's for trading, so you can maximize the efficiency right there. That's number one. For number two, if you guys want to be able to day trade and want to follow my alerts, but you guys cannot do it, please don't force yourself to. No matter how exciting something looks, okay, and you think that, oh shit, if I followed this, blah, 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 I would have been great and whatnot. But you guys have to understand that, like, you're only saying this because you saw something ran up. Okay, there are some times where IBO hit 345 and just knife. Can you be in the position to manage it? Because maybe some of you guys will be like, oh, I'm in, but I was in a meeting. I couldn't close my position. I couldn't watch it and whatnot. If you cannot focus, don't day trade. Or rather, don't follow my day trades. As simple as that. Once you're in a trade, you're not supposed to take your eyes off it until you're completely out. That's just my rule, right? Because no matter how good you are or how lucky you are in the 1 to 2 trades where you don't look and this thing goes up, just one time, the play don't go the way you want and you're not looking at it, it's going to give back everything that you make, which is, again, not consistent, right? At the point of time, you're just literally gambling to see if the ticker goes when you're not looking at your computer, right? Number one rule when it comes to day trading is that if you want to trade, make sure that you're focused. For those of you guys who have a day job, right? For those of you guys who have a day job, okay, you do not need to stay in the computer the entire day. Right? Find yourself a fixed schedule that you can sit down and focus on trading without any distractions and trade for the hour or so. And once you're done with it, you're done with it. Okay? So for example, if let's say you are able to spare time to trade from maybe 9:30 to 10:30, 1 hour for market open, right? So from 9:30 to 10:30, you sit down, you trade. Whatever the outcome is, you take it, close your computer, move on. Why? Because you need to understand that if you have a day job, it's clear that the day job is your main source of income, right? So that is where you should be spending your time at, not day trading. Okay, when I was first in the military, when I was working full time, right? I traded whatever I can, hours wise, whatever I can, whenever I can. And once I'm done, I'm done. I'm not gonna come back in and do this and that because every single day, that's the timing I'm stick to. Right? Every single day I'll come in at 9:30, trip for an hour, 10:30, whatever results I get, I'm done. I go back, I log down my trades, I review them, and I study. So that slowly over time I can commit more time to day trading where I slowly phase out from my day job until I become more consistent at it. That's where I can start to day trade full time. It's a process. You can't just switch overnight, right? One example is as well. There's this one person I mentored. He started with a $7,000 account, right? And his trading style is very simple, right? He comes in the morning, 9:30, trades whatever he can. 10:30 wise, he's out. No matter what runs, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, it's not a matter to him anymore. Because again, he is a student, or rather he has a day job, right? He's trading on the side while learning. Hopefully in time, he can switch around. And he took his account from 7,000 to close to PTT so far, just by doing that, right? So you don't need to stick in front of the computer the whole day. You have to understand that you are not a full-time day trader. You're a part-time day trader, right? Or maybe you're just day trading on the side, right? So if that's the case, then you got to act like it. Some of you guys over here are trying to day trade without putting focus, which is why you're not successful because you're trying to go into this half-heartedly, which is not going to be good, right? Well, for whatever you do, okay? Yeah. So if you need to if you find yourself a schedule that you can consistently stick to, all right, and then execute during the hours. It has to be consistent. You don't tell me that on Monday you can do this, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday you can't, and then Friday you can do it, right? Okay, honestly, if you can do that, then go ahead and do that, right? Trade on Monday and Friday during that time, right? But it has to be consistent, right? Don't be like Monday 9:30 10:30. Tuesday you'd be like doing 3 to 4 p.m. type shit, right? It has to be consistent. It has to be something that you can sit down every single day. And whatever the end day of the results is, you take it because you don't have the luxury to be like, oh, midday runners, you take the midday stuff because you have your job to do. That's your day job. That's your main source of income, right? You cannot try to replace day trading over your day job just right when you guys are starting and you guys have no idea what's going on, right? Slowly, but you guys can phase it out or slowly attribute more time to day trading. But at the start right now, your focus should be to learn, right? And the best way to learn is by accumulating experience in the market. Trade it 1 hour, whatever case. Because for me, I like to trade 9:30 to 10:30 because that's where the volatility happens most of the time. Sometimes, obviously, we have midday runners and stuff, but those are on market situation basis, right? But generally speaking, the most volatility happens the best in the market open is there, right? And again, I do not care if I miss out on runners or anything like that because I'm trading my plan. My goal as a day trader is to make money based on my trades, not to see how high I can hold a stock into, right? It's not a competition for that. Okay, so if you don't even have the luxury to do any of that, I suggest you guys do not day trade. They're trying to force something that's not going to work out. What do you think? What do you guys think is going to happen? You guys think you're going to find success? No. Right, what's going to happen is that you guys are going to end up blowing up your account and be like, oh, day trading's not for me. Well, obviously day trading's not for you. You're not setting up for that, right? So focus on swing trading, focus on channels like BK King, swing trades, diagonal swings, right? Maybe if you guys are into large cap swings, then, 1% place, right? We have at least everything for you guys over here. Yeah, all right. So there's that. Now I know we talked about it before. We can go how we start deciding for a trade. Okay, I'm gonna leave it first, right? So it's not really beginner stuff. Good morning, bro. I have a couple of questions. When you mentioned break above, what time are you looking at before it closes? I'll open a new candle, blah blah blah. Okay, so Antonio asked a question about breakout plays, right? So again, if you go through the onboarding channel, click on this. You guys, please go through everything. I'm gonna go through this, Antonio, but I just want to re-emphasize it for those of you guys who have a similar question. So, for those of you guys who are not here and stuff later when I upload this recording, hopefully when they read it, they listen. All right, you can see this. Click on it. it's all talked about over here. I recorded a 32-minute video for that. All right, but let's go over it. Okay, so one example is going. Let's take a break example. Okay. So now look, we take Ailer, right? So Ailer, I gave you guys the alert. 370 break, stop on the 340. Okay. So for Ailer, we've got this one over here. This timing was sent during what? 6:52. Right. So at 6:52, right? You can see that this is the candle that happened, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now when we say that, we want to identify which is a 370 level, right? Okay. So once we identify the 370 level, okay, you guys can see, right, very clear. This is the 370 level, yeah? So at 6:52, I told you guys what's the 370 break. 6:52 was right here, right? This one. Did we break out for 370 here? No. It's a wick, right? It's a wick. There is no breakout. Where did the breakout happen? The breakout happened on 6:56 candle. Okay? Do you add on the 6:56 candle? No, because this could just go down and form a super long wick, right? It could just go down and form a super long wick, which is then going to be forming this type of candle, which means that there is no breakout happening. So you wait for the candle to close and add on the next candle, right? So anywhere, whatever the case is, okay? And then play it up. That's it. All right, that is it. Okay, and it will be on the 1-minute chart. All the breakout plays will be on the 1-minute chart. Okay, Antonio? All right, next. Similarly, all the options live trading looks fascinating, but I feel they are not discovering where they are buying and what, whether put or call, and where they end correctly to follow them successfully, and you can do blah blah. Okay, so I have not been in the options live trading side of things, but I said through one before, and I think they have been very clear about the strikes and calls and puts. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat. If you guys have been through the live trading session for options, right? Because I think they have been pretty clear about it. If you say you're not describing stuff, maybe you don't understand what the person is saying and whatnot, right? That could be maybe a communication issue, right? But I think they have been pretty clear about stuff like that. Yeah, but just let me know if it's not, yeah. But for me, I think they've been pretty clear. I made a mistake yesterday. Sold my IBO average at 4.11 at 3.33 because of a big red candle after market open. I panicked, but later it went up to 6. How do you overcome this? Now, there's nothing to overcome this. I think whatever you did was, based on your so basically you said you sold on this candle at 4.11 maybe, right? But there's nothing to overcome this still. Right? What's wrong about what you did? You agreed, you took your profits on the way up. Right? Not everyone's gonna hold on this to 6. Not everyone's gonna hold on to 6. Right? Now remember, if you say that you make a mistake making green profits, how is that a mistake? The mistake is if you guys hold on to this when this thing breaks on the tree and it's at 176, then that's a mistake. You sold because of your emotions. That is okay. So that is not really that's more of an emotional mistake right there. But it's not really a mistake per se. Because you see, the mindset you have over here comes only because you see IBO, right, having a move to 617. If IBO if let's say from this candle over here, right, and it goes all the way down, you're not going to come up to me and tell me that you made a mistake on this. You're not. You're not even going to have a question over here. You're going to think that you didn't make a mistake. But suddenly when it goes up, it says that you make a mistake. That's not a mistake, right? You just probably didn't trade properly. That's it. You probably didn't trade properly or you didn't manage to trade well. But it's not a mistake. You made your money, right? You stayed in. You stayed in. You didn't get wicked out from the $3 level. It went up. You took profits the way up. How can you say that's a mistake? You did good, right? You can't say it was a mistake just because it went up. Because if it goes down like that, would you be coming over here to tell me that you made a mistake by selling early or selling at 410? No, you're not going to do that, right? So it's not a mistake, right? It's more so as an emotional issue. So one thing as to why I emphasize on taking profits on the way up is because what the hell is this? One thing I emphasize on taking profits on the way up, right, is because I want you guys to kind of understand that when you take profits on the way up, okay, when you take profits on the way up, what it helps you to do is that it helps you to reduce your share position size and secure profits. So this way, if let's say any sort of knife happens, you have profit secured, you don't really have a whole lot of position and stuff, it's not going to impact you too much. A lot of you guys over here, when you guys see something like this, you guys are going to panic, right? When you guys see something like this, you guys are going to panic and stuff, right? And especially so, if you did not take profits on the way up, right? You're gonna be like, shit, is it gonna knife and whatnot? I mean, the move from 320s all the way to 4 plus is good. $1 move is knife. No one knows it's gonna go to 6, right? But you can clearly see that the $3 support is still holding on. You can clearly see that we have an uptrend forming as well, right? We also have a potential, double top over here too, right? So right here we have an ascending triangle pattern, okay, right? It's very clean, isn't it? Right, you have an uptrend forming and ascending triangle pattern. So if you want to replay it, you can wait for the 425 breakout, right? Take your entries, have your stops on the 425, and then play it again. But if not, that is not a mistake, right? So high, so I B, that is not a mistake, okay? Because if it went down to 2 plus on this knife, where you sold off, you're gonna be like, oh man, I did good today. Right, I would say that the mistake over here is you having this kind of mindset. All right, that's not good. Okay, yeah, it's nothing to overcome. Right, the main thing at the end of the day is that if you take your profits on the way up, you have 20% left, and you set your 20% stop loss at entry, or underneath this trend line or whatnot, you would not have sold panic sell. You would not have panic sold. Right, you would have continued holding on to this because you only have 20% left. Even if it goes down to your position size or whatever the case is, you're going to give back some profits maybe, but you're not going to turn the trade red, right? Because you're trading the chart. You're not trading the P&L, right? The more you do that, the less mistakes you're going to do potentially. Because you trade on emotions, then, when you see money, you want to sell quickly and stuff like that. You don't let the chart do its own thing. Then, you're never going to fulfill the potential of what the stock can do because you're trading on emotions. How do we scale up on high volume tickers? I know it's subjective, but the target is not to be the back holder. What's your usual scale up strategy? Again, Ganesh, this is something that it's all inside the server. Information is inside the server, right? I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's literally plain as day over there. Under infographics, right? Or if you don't want to go under infographics, right? Go to the onboarding channel. Go over to this one. I mean, you guys should have clicked on every single one of them and gone through every single one of the page. Go over to this. I mean, it's clearly is there how I manage my trades. That's your question, right? And I give you guys a written example. You can see that. Yeah, so go ahead and read that, Ganesh. Okay, right? So what's your usual share size on the stock with a 20-cent stop loss? If let's say I'm willing to risk 2 to 3% of my portfolio for that, then it's going to be a lot higher, right? It's very dependent. Okay, it's depending on how much I'm willing to risk, and it depends on how much I'm willing to risk on the stock. So if let's say I have a $1,000, or rather I have a let's say for example I'm in at $2 to stop on the 180, right? And I'm willing to risk 1% of my portfolio on this trade, and my portfolio size is maybe $1,000, right? So in this sense, I'm probably just gonna be let me put the numbers down for you, okay? So over here, if I have a portfolio of $1,000, right? And then let's say this trade plan is I'm willing to risk 1% of the trade plan, okay? And this trade plan is maybe $2 and stop under 180 at 20 cents risk, right? As Drake asked, right? At 20 cents risk, okay? Right, so this is the scenario over here right now, guys, okay? So if let's say I have a $1,000 portfolio, and then my trade plan over here is I want to play this ticker at 2, stop on the 180. So this is a 20 cents risk. Now, obviously, we're not stopping at 180, right? We're stopping underneath 180, but plus minus. Okay, when we take profits, we don't exactly take it at the price. Sometimes it goes up higher, right? But for calculation purposes, we keep it like that, and it should be like that. Okay, so a 20 cents risk, willing to risk 1% of my portfolio for this. So that means that if this trade doesn't work out, so that means that if I buy the stock at $2, stops under 180, right? I'm only going to be losing $10 on my account because that's 1% of 1,000, right? So when I have all these values over here, I will know how much I need to size in so that if it doesn't work out, I will only lose $10. So this way I don't blow up my account, right? So how much can I size in over here so that if it doesn't work out, I only lose $10? 50 shares, right? 50 shares at $2 hits 180. So since it's 20 cents per share, I have 50 shares. 50 times 0.2 is $10, which is 1% of my portfolio. That's it. So again, so you asked the same questions. I think I've answered this already, right? Because I mean, you're green on this. It went down. You panic sold. I would say trade the chart, right? But again, if this thing knifed down, halted down, you would not have this mindset. You would not have this mindset thinking that you made a mistake, right? You can't tell me you make a mistake when just because this thing go up, and then you didn't make a mistake when this thing goes down, because you couldn't have known that it was going to do that, right? So I would say that the mistake over here is having this kind of mindset. Antonio asked a question, right? When you said stop under 95 cents, you don't actually stop at 95. How was the best stop price? Blah, blah, blah. I've mentioned this just now, right? When I say I stop loss under something, it's a plan. Right? I generally will stop underneath that, or sometimes I will stop a little bit earlier. I'll let you guys know by sending my stop loss, my stop alert out. But this is just at least a plan for you guys to kind of understand, right? Because look, if you set IBO a stop loss, right? Look at this. So IBO's plan was very simple. Stop loss under $3, okay? If you set a stop loss at $2.95, you're going to get triggered, right? And then this thing goes to $3, $4. I mean, did we lose $3 over here? It's a wick. We never lost $3. What? We never lost $3 over here. And plus, this is the first candle for open. There's going to be a lot of volatility. But we never lost $3. So why are you setting a stop loss? Right? For day trades, you should never set a stop loss. That's why I say, right? You want to manually watch your trades, right? It links back to what I said earlier just now in the morning. If you want a day trade, okay, you should always make sure that you are focused, sitting down, looking at the position that you're in, right? You cannot be like, I'm going to set my stop loss and I'm going to let the market do the work. Because look, if you set your stop loss for IBO at 290 something, 292, right? Thinking that you have enough buffer, you're going to get triggered before this thing go up. Where at the end of the day, we just never lost $3. But if you're manually watching it, you can prevent this from happening. But if you're not, the system doesn't care. It's just going to trigger, it's just going to respect whatever you put. Right? So you still want to manually watch it and execute, especially when you're trading. Okay? Right? You see, you put your stop loss at 93 and stuff, Antonio, because I mean, I don't know why you should not have done that. Setting physical stop loss is not something I do unless I personally say in my alerts, I'm setting a stop loss. I'm as clear as I can get. Stop loss set at $3, then yes, I have a physical stop loss set. If not, it's all mental stop loss. I'll alert if I'm out. Hi, how do you deal with stop loss? I guess you're doing okay. You know what? I just mentioned that. Yeah. So you can see right here, right? So we just take IBO for example. I say stop loss on the tree, no? And if you look at the chart, this thing went down and bounced up. So you can clearly see that $3 is holding up. If the next candle, right? If this thing bounced off from tree, but the next candle goes down on the tree, I'll probably cut it because it attempted to bounce. But if it goes back down to $3 and breaks tree, it's probably done, right? But this candle obviously showed you guys that $3 is holding up. Right, this is a nice long wick, which means that buyers are supporting this push over here. So why close it off? How are you making plan for market open? Look for the actions in pre-market. See which one fits the best, catalyst wise, movements wise. Form the watch list. Mark your levels down, and on open, watch where the volume goes. Focus on the volume. So Hodor has said that Mike and Corey has been fantastic live trading, right? Stuff. So for the person who asked about live trading stuff, I think you might not be used to how the person is um maybe that, like I said, maybe there's a little bit of a communication issue, right? So you want to be used to it, right? Sit through it, paper trade a little bit based on what they say, and see how you can better assimilate better insight for that. How do you know when to start taking profits? So yeah, I don't use by the way, I'll talk about this one later, but Zivco, I do not use Fibonacci, right? I do not use Fibonacci, so I can't answer you that. Okay. What's gonna do you use to track volume? Honestly, I just track it myself on the watch list that I have over here, and I look at individual charts myself, right, to see which one has the volume flow and whatnot. It's a little bit more hardworking, but I enjoy doing this, so it's fine. Can you please tell how did you predict the RGC aiming for 50 to 100? And also, what makes you say that you were overnight ailer? Um, So obviously, I wouldn't know that RGC is gonna hit whatever, right? I mean, I did say that I want 80 to 100, but I mean, I've really taken my profits already. But this is just again what a Chinese stock does, right? Maybe it might not even hit the $100 that I want or the $80 that I want. Okay, maybe it just hits this level here and it completely dies off potentially, right? Because this is what Chinese tickers do. Okay, one example is going to be HKD, right? I don't think anyone would have expected this to go to $2,000 from the $12, right? I don't think anyone would have expected this to go to $2,000, but it did. But you can see what happened after. Now, I'll tell you guys that there is no reverse split. There is no split on this. This literally went from 2005 to $2. But this is what Chinese stock does, right? And it comes with experience, obviously, that I know that Chinese stocks, when they start to gear up, there's a chance for them to go crazy, right? But if it don't, then I have to cut it quick because I don't want to be caught in liquidation. Maybe next week, right? RGC hits 72 and just completely liquidate down to $1. Possible. It's completely possible, right? It's completely possible. But that's why it's lotto play. Okay, I don't know how to answer how do I predict. I just say based on experience, I've seen how Chinese ticker does that, right? You want this to go to $200, $300, $400? Maybe. Like I said, no one knew HKD was going to go to $2,000, but the potential is there. Okay, Zivco, you're asking a little bit more of a technical question, right? So I'm not gonna answer that right now because this is gonna take too much time. But for me, my indicators I use my EMAs, VWAP. I do not use Bollinger Bands. I do not use RSI. I do not use MACD, right? I just use the 4 lines I have. Okay, I just use the 4 lines that I have. 21 EMA trend line, 50 EMA trend line, 200 EMA trend line, VWAP. That's it. I do not use MACD, right? I do not use RSI. I don't use Bollinger Bands. Okay, so last question from Strand on Bui. Sorry, I don't really know how to read Vietnam names and stuff, but I think this is a Vietnamese name. But how do you know when to start taking profits? My target profit percentage is 10% for each trade. Now, honestly, the best answer for this, right, is whenever you feel comfortable. Okay, I mean, technically speaking, right, as much as you can, you want to be able to have at least a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio when it comes to trade small cap. So for example, if let's say I am let's talk about eyeball again, right? So let's just say if I'm in at 323, okay, my stop loss is on $3. So I have a 20 cents risk or so. So minimally where I want to take profits or where I should be taking profits over here should be around 340. Now, if you're in at 310 and your stop loss on the $3, then minimally where you should take profits is 320. Right? Because if you risk 10 cents, you want to see a 10 cents move to the upside. If you risk 20 cents, you want to at least see a 20 cents move to the upside. This is very easy to say when you're trading futures or large caps and stuff. But when it comes to small caps, it's very difficult, right? Because this is just not the only ticker you trade. You have to do stuff like volume rotation, blah 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 blah. Right. So and it's not very conducive to think like that. I mean, this is the mindset I have, but sometimes squeeze happens. Sometimes I'm in this trade not because I want to take profit. I'm more so I am looking to squeeze the move, right? But if it doesn't, I'll close it off. So it's very situational. It's very and so you see the thing about small caps is that you're not just trading one ticker for the day. You're going to be trading on 5 tickers, right? And you would not know which ticker is going to be the move for the day until things settle down. So it's very difficult to say this, right? But the best answer over here is whenever you feel comfortable, to be honest, right? When you feel comfortable, when you see the profits you're happy securing, you take it. But if you want to make sure that your losses, or rather your gains, are never smaller than your losses, okay, right? Some of you guys are having issues with saying stuff like, oh, my profits are small, my losses are big. It's because you guys are taking profits too early, and also that's because you guys do not have a good risk to reward ratio. That's all. Because you guys are not trading the chart, right? You guys are just seeing profits, you guys take profits. It's more of an emotional issue right there then. How do you select TOS over Weibo to trade with? Oh no, because okay, so you have to previously, before Weibo wasn't in Singapore, Thinkorswim was. I've been using this broker since 2020, right? So I'm used to it. And I don't know, you said that Weibo is more feature packed. I don't know, man. I prefer Thinkorswim charts. Honestly, it's a lot better for me, I would say. And I'm used to it, right? I'm used to it. There's no right or wrong over here. It's whatever you're used to. No, no. I mean, you can, right? So this is a very good question, right? From ESK, I bought this IPO, bought at 3.2, sold at 3.4, and it came back to 3.2 again as a buy indication. It's still live. You didn't say you sold it. Can we re-enter into the stock at 3.2? Now remember this, guys. When I alert something, okay, when I alert something, like for example, eyeball, and it hits targets already, right? And maybe later, 30 minutes later, it goes back down to wherever I was at it. And I told you guys I wasn't out yet. For those of you guys who sold, can you re-enter at that price? My answer to you guys, based on what my alerts is saying, is no. I'm not telling you guys to re-enter back at my previously added price. I'm not out, okay, but you have to understand that this is a different structure. You're adding on weakness. That's a reason. There's a chance that it might not hold up. But if you wanna just add it and still respect it because you think that I'm still in, you want to re-add and stuff like that, you can. Make sure not to what? If it doesn't work out, make sure to not give profits back. Right? Make sure not to give profits back if it doesn't work out. So you can maybe try that if you want. But alerts wise, if you ask me, did I alert to re-entries over there? Is no. That's it. But I'm still in. I'm trying. You guys know my trading style. I do not like to, close everything for small moves. I like to take profits on the way up and then ride it until the setup or structure breaks down. Okay, yeah. I use 5 minute to look at trend. Right. I use 1 minute for entries. I mean, you don't need, well, guys, we're trading on the day itself. Why the hell do you need to watch the 15, 20, 30, 45 minute chart? 1 minute is all you need, to be honest. We're buying and selling on the day itself, right? And then you look at 5 minute for trend. Why do you want to look at such a big time frame for? But again, it's up to your style, right? My style, based on how I back tested my strategy for years and years and years. This is just how I derive my trading style. That's it. Right? If your style requires you to trade, or you're comfortable trading the 5 minute chart and stuff, then go for it. It's like Ross Cameron trades on the 30 seconds chart. I mean, I don't do that shit. Right? Even my broker doesn't even allow 30 seconds time frame. So the lowest is 1 minute. Right? So I don't know what the hell he's doing, but it works for him. It will not work for me. I don't follow his shit. Right? But it works for him. So there's nothing wrong with it. Something that you have to back test and see if it works. Yeah, 10 seconds. I mean, to me, that is just like, it's very good. You know, Ross trading style is good for people with big capital account, right? It's very good because you see, I mean, what kind of gains are you guys gonna get when you buy 50 shares and sell it like for 1 cent move? How much are you gonna make on that? You understand what I mean, right? For you to guys to trade like what Ross does, yeah, you're gonna make like 50 cents off that for 50 shares. For you guys to make like what Ross does, you need to have a substantially big account. Because you can just like throw in 50,000 shares and then if it goes up 10 cents or even 5 cents, it's pretty decent money. Right, but is it efficient? It's not. At least for me, it's not. Imagine 5,000 shares or 50,000 shares, it goes up by 5 cents, you just made $2,500 in that few seconds. But do you guys have, most of you guys over here, do you guys have the luxury to throw in 50,000 shares in one play? No, right? So do you think that style is going to be effective for you? Probably not. Oh, so one person was asking me why am I want to hold Ailer overnight, blah blah blah. So okay, if you look at Ailer, right, on the 5 minute, there is a very nice hole on the trend. I love this, right? I love this, right? Very, very nice hole on the trend line. And we're also seeing a lot of, even though it's Friday, right? We see a lot of midday recovery, and we are rejecting the downtrend here. You can see that. Yeah, we are rejecting the downtrend over here, but you know, for the most part, I like the fact that we are seeing midday recovery. So that means that there is some bit of strength over here. There is news for this about GLP-1, right? Isn't that about weight loss and the muscle type shit, right? So that is pretty what's that? What's GLP-1? Yeah, it's for weight loss and shit, isn't it? GLP-1, right? So it's pretty relevant to today's climate, right? And they did have a Roth MKM buy target of $16, right? So it might catch on. I don't know. I mean, this is a low floater over here. There is also another one from Chardon Capital that announces a 250 price target. So it is a little bit conflicting, right? One of them says $16, the other one says 250. Okay, but for me, I just trade the chart. I'm hoping that people are buying more into this Roth MKM stuff, right? And it goes up. But obviously, over the weekend stuff, it's very difficult to say what's going to happen. But for me, trend holds. I'm just gonna see what's up and then see what happens on Monday. If there's no volume, if it loses 330 right now, obviously based on this trend, 330 loses, then I'm out. Yeah, and then we'll move on to something else. Every day we have new tickers to trade. And also, I think there is earnings on the 26th. So we might see an earnings run up. I'm hoping. We'll see. Not sure. Again, I do not know what's going to happen, right? If I knew, I would full port into this already. I am doing it, KP. It was just a joke. Relax, man. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yeah, yeah, nah, because relax, chill. But yeah, guys, I mean, I have a few trips planned and stuff. Guys, I mean, I need to take a break, just like how Frankie took a break before. I need to take breaks as well. I think I haven't. Last time I took a break was during my wedding anniversary, and that's pretty much it. So I do have a couple of trips planned, right, for this year. So somewhere around April and June, I wouldn't be around. But on that most part, I will be around every single day. I mean, I think, yeah, I've been around every single day. Okay, guys. All right. If not, I think that's pretty much it. 3 more minutes before the session close. I think this has been a very good session. You guys are asking a lot of good questions and stuff. I'll see you guys next week again for the same stuff. Maybe some of you guys over here need some time to assimilate or try the server. Maybe you guys are going to struggle and you guys have further questions, right? Then I'll see you guys again next Saturday. All right, to sort it out. Okay. If not, enjoy the rest of your weekends and cheers.